makers, this is one of my additional makes for the Tim Holtz Idea-ology 2022 Halloween release. And I thought this would be a fun make for one of the panels. So this is one of the panels. I recorded myself as I was making it, so I'm not gonna hold up much longer before I just get into the tutorial and let you watch how I made it. And at the end, we'll come back and talk about how it started out as one piece, and then I'm gonna leave some pictures in of what it looked like when I thought I finished, and then what it ended up being. So that will give you some options if you're not a Halloween person and you're more of a fall person and you would rather have a fall looking decor piece, then stick with my original. And then if you wanted to kind of zhuzh it up a little bit and Halloweenify it a little bit, then you can go with this version. Either one is just as easy to make, and to switch to this version, you just change a few things out. And I really enjoyed making both versions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started in how to make this Halloween pumpkin panel. To complete this project, you are going to need a vignette panel. You're going to need a package of vignette frames. They come 4 to a package. These are a retired Idea-ology item, but they are still widely available, and so that's why I chose to use them, because you can still get these. We are only using the 2 largest frames, so you'll have the 2 smallest frames to use on another project. So that's why I have the 2 out here. You're going to need a set of the Halloween collage tiles, and I have pulled some that have orange in them, and some blacks and some grays. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. You're going to need, to cover the box, you're going to need some of the new Halloween collage paper. Isn't that gorgeous? So wonderful. So you're going to need a pack of this, or a roll of this. You're also going to need the new Halloween design tape. This is the exact width of the vignette panel, and so we're going to use this around the outside edge to finish off that outside edge. You're also going to need a package of the Flourish Adornments, and let me tell you how we're going to put this stuff together and why you need some of these items today. I was looking through Pinterest and had looked at something Halloween, apparently, because I had Halloween all through my Pinterest feed. And one of the things that popped up was the cutest pumpkin that a woman named, I believe her name is Amanda Strong. I will put the link here, but I'm also going to put the link in the description for this YouTube. I will have the link on my blog to her Pinterest page, and probably her YouTube. I'll link you to her YouTube channel. She does wonderful creative things with items from the Dollar Tree, and she has a Facebook group called Crafts on a Budget, and so she makes just really fun things. And so she had made a pumpkin out of, let me move this, and I'm going to bring this in because I'm not going to be using this, but I want to show you. She had just made a pumpkin out of 3 Dollar Tree frames and some scrapbook paper that she had found, I think at the Dollar Tree also. And so she had just painted the frames, I can't remember what color, and then she had the Halloween paper in here, and she stuck a wine cork on the top and then just tied some ribbon, a big ribbon bow. And so I thought that is just so cute and simple, and so I thought that would be fun for a little crafty group, that some friends that we just do little quick decor things together. So I thought, oh, that would be fun. And then as I, got to planning later on my Idea-ology things, I thought, you know what? That might be fun on a vignette panel made like with Idea-ology. So I am not copying her idea completely. I am inspired by it. And so I decided I wanted to do it Idea-ology style. So thank you, Amanda, for your amazing creativity. And again, please make sure that you go and follow her on YouTube, because she has great ideas. All right, so I'm only going to use 1 frame for the sides and a big frame for the center, because these come in a pack of 4. And so I don't want you to have to buy 2 packs. If you want to buy 2 packs, that's up to you, but I'm only going to use 1, and I'm going to cut it in half, so that, just pretend that this is one that's cut in half, okay? So that it looks like that. You'll just see the little bits out on the edge, okay? Now inside, instead of scrapbook paper, I am going to make a paper quilt. And my friend Susan used to make these for her home decor for different seasons, and she would have leftover bits of scrapbook paper. She would cut into squares, and then she would lay it out on a scrap piece of paper all together, and then she would sew over it. And I absolutely loved the idea, and so I started to do the same. So I have several home decor pieces like this, and I've even used this technique for card backs and all kinds of things that you can use when you have leftover scraps. Now, these are not all orange, and so since I am going to be making a pumpkin, I will probably stain a few of these that are just gray. I will probably stain a few of them orange, just to kind of, you know, get more of the color in there. And then I'm going to put them on a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to quilt them on the paper. So I will have sewing on this project. If you do not want to do sewing, you do not have to do sewing. You can just put the paper, the tiles on some paper, and then you can draw the sewing or just forget about it altogether, and it will still be super, super cute. So don't worry about it. All right, so that's where I'm going with these. Then I will cut the piece of paper up, put it in the frames, and then I'll cut this frame in half once I have it stabilized with the paper and the collage tiles in there. I'll go ahead and cut it in half, and I'll put half on each side. I will be painting these orange, since I do need some orange, since this is, you know, multicolored here. Then I wanted to have something ideology for the stem, and I was trying to figure out what I had that could be a stem for ideology when I remembered the gorgeous Flourish adornments. So those will go like this. So remember, these are 1 cut in half. And I'll put probably some mummy cloth down here to look a little bit like moss or something like that. And then this one looks like it could be a stem. So you could use actually either side for the stem that you might want. You could do it this way, or you could do it this way. And there you have a really, really fun stem and a gorgeous leaf to go with it. And then I will, of course, add some moss and some things like that, maybe some mummy cloth up there too. And so then you have a really cute Halloween kind of vignette panel decor piece for your home. So let's get started on this and see if the idea inspired by Amanda will turn out the way I kind of have pictured it in my head. I hope so. I hope it's not too busy. I hope it really works out. Let's get started. some of the pieces that were mostly just kind of gray or white and inked them with a little spiced marmalade and some crackling campfire. I have painted both of the frames with crackling campfire distress paint. I'm going to sand them down and I'm going to distress them with probably some walnut stain ink or a walnut stain crayon. Try and get in and get some of those details to stand out. And then with these, I'm going to glue them. This is a piece of craft heavy stock, distressed craft heavy stock cardstock. And I'm going to attach these basically this way so I don't waste too many of them. So I'll attach them. They have been inked not only with spiced marmalade and crackling campfire, but then I went around the edges of all of them with walnut stain. I'm going to show. So I'm going to go ahead and attach them onto this piece of heavy stock with some Collage medium. And then I will, and the reason I'm using Collage medium is because it will dry, not sticky, and so I can sew over it. You don't want to use any sticky adhesives if you're going to be sewing over it because it will gum up your machine. So that's kind of where I'm going next with this. So I'm going to just keep going. I just wanted to catch you up with where we're at. I'm going to attempt to show you how I sew on the quilt squares. So this is what it looks like when I'm finished. And you can see I just sew, usually just sew all one diagonal, and then I go back and I sew diagonally the other way to try and make it look a little bit like quilty paper. All right, so here's how it goes. Start on one diagonal, and remember on my foot I drew where the center is, just in case you're not sure. And now I'm going to turn off the sound so you don't have to hear my loud machine. sure how this is going to turn out. So I may have to sand this all off and start over again, or just completely cover it with something else. But I'm going to try this. I kind of want to make this look a little bit like planks. So I am going to mark it at the 3. And at 6. This is the side with the metal. So, can I even see where I marked that? That should be right up there. I think that's it. To catch you up, I have colored in this the lines that I kind of scraped out with my scissors and my this is actually my Sizzix picker that I started. And now I have used my Dremel to pre-drill 2 holes on the ends of each plank, and I am going to pound these nails into each of those so that, again, it gives it even more of the look of planks. And some of them, see, are closer to the edge, some of them are farther in, and that's all part of the look of imperfection. You don't want this to look completely perfect. So going to be happy with that. I'm not going to pound these in on as I'm videoing. Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of what those look like. Let's see if I can zoom out just a little bit. So, okay, and then I got this cut in half. So I cut the little one in half, and the way that I did that was I took my craft knife, and you just have to be really patient. So put it on, you know, a cutting mat, and then just be really patient and very careful as you know, work with it. And then you can cut this and then work to get it to cut through. And it just takes a little time and a little patience, but you'll get it done. And then because it's not perfect, I can't put it up against the edge like this because you can see gaps on the sides. So I can't do that. So I'm going to have to put it on top of put the edges just underneath. And in order to do that and have this be nice and stable, because this again is just that heavy stock, and it's just, you know, basically 2 layers of paper. And these are actually very thin, so it's really just, you know, the craft stock. And so I wanted it to be have a little bit of substance. And so I took and I cut some chipboard. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of chipboard. Seems to be about the same height as the edge of these frames. And it's about 3 inches apart, which is about how wide the planks are. And then I can glue this down, then I can glue this to this, and these just slip right under. And it will need to come down. And then I'll add this and some mummy cloth, and I think I'll probably be about done at that point. I think that's really about all that it needs. We'll see. I might decide it needs something else, like maybe a word plaque or something at the bottom. So I'll decide once I get everything attached, I get these pounded in, and then we'll go from there. All right, so not really all that much different from the photos that you just saw, right? But this does have just a little bit more of a Halloween theme. So to change it up, what I originally did was I took that mummy cloth that I had colored green, and I just kind of shredded it a little bit and went ahead and stuck it here where I have the black fringe trim. And then I also put it up here where I had the black fringe trim. And the reason that I did that is because, as you can see, there's just a little gap there, and I wanted to be sure that I covered that gap. And I didn't glue this down, so I'm going to pull it out so that you can see where I had some of that mummy cloth and the reason why you want to have something there. All right. So I just went ahead and stuck some of the trim behind there, and then I wanted to have a little bit coming out, kind of meeting the top of that little leaf right there, but it just gently covers up the little gap. And the same thing down here, you kind of have a gap underneath, and so I just wanted to have a little bit covering up the bottom underneath there. So this is how it turned out, and as you can see, I went ahead and I did put the kind of the bubbles design tape around the outside edge because I wanted something that was going to pull in the pumpkin in the center. So that did that. I left the little, and I don't know that I talked about this, but I went over the Flourish leaf adornment with forest moss paint, and I rubbed it in with my fingers and then went ahead and wiped it with a dry Inky Binky cloth to get any excess off. So it does have just a slight green forest moss tinge to it. And it's hard to tell, but the stem, I did the same thing, but with some ground espresso so that it is a little bit brown. You can see where I left off with the fact that I was going to nail these tack nails into place. And so I did that across the top and I did that across the bottom. And then I aged them a little bit with some Rusty Hinge distress crayon, sorry, and then also some walnut stain and some ground espresso distress crayon. And then I kind of tried to wet it with my water brush and go ahead and pull it down in areas where I kind of thought the rust might, you know, kind of soak into the wood, and where, you know, some of the iron might soak into the wood. So, and then I had, as you saw, I went ahead and I put distress crayon around the edges. I think that the planking that I did with the craft knife and the scissors turned out really well. I really love that look. And I roughed up, you saw on the video that I kind of roughed these up and added some crayon with my hands, and then went ahead and wiped off the excess so that these would look old. And then to turn them from, you know, just a pumpkin panel with, you know, no adornments on it, I just kind of left it with just, you know, the panel, the little bit of Flourish, and then that mossy looking mummy cloth. With that, I didn't have anything on the pumpkin. I just left it and let it speak for itself. And so if that's where you want to leave it, that's perfectly fine. And I think it makes a great decor piece to hang on a wall or sit on a mantle. And then to kind of turn it into Halloween a little bit, I went ahead and added some of the Cool Idea-ology candy corns and a few of the little round confections with some collage medium just to kind of sprinkle them across. I put one of this, what are those? The little stickers with the word clippings, clipping sticker that said mischief. And then I pulled these cute little guys out of the paper dolls, the Halloween paper dolls, and they look like they were just about a little mischief, at least this one anyway, right? And so I colored them with some distress crayons in Spice Marmalade, and this is one of the yellows, I think it was mustard seed. So I just kind of colored those with distress crayon and just rubbed it with my finger a little bit. I did not wet it or use any water, just the crayon, and just smudged it a little bit and rubbed it off in places with a dry cloth. I popped them up with 2 pieces of foam tape so that their little feet looked like they were on the edge of the frame, and that was pretty much it for Halloweenifying it, except that I went ahead and pulled that cloth out, the mummy cloth out, and went and added some of the fringe, the crepe fringe, which I absolutely love. I feel like the crepe fringe is a little more Halloween than fall, and that green mummy cloth is more of a fall feel to it. So, and then if you wanted to use it for both, I think that easily enough, you could, you know, just tuck the mummy cloth in for fall, and then maybe just put these on with some sort of removable adhesive. Okay, this is a removable adhesive that I keep on hand for all of my scrapbooking needs, because I oftentimes put something down, and so I buy it off Amazon in the box. I oftentimes put something down and then I want to be able to remove it. So this comes in a couple of different types, but the green glue is what I call it, the monomulti in green. It does not dry hard. It dries very tacky. And so that's why some people really hate this glue, because it does not dry hard. But the beautiful thing about it is that I may have stuck something down months ago on a layout, and then I get back to it and I decide, you know what, I actually want to, you know, maybe have a picture there, or I want to put something else there. And I can use just a little, you know, one of those little, you know, sticker picker uppers or whatever, very thin plastic. I just put it under there, or you could use floss, dental floss, something like that. And you just put it under, pop it up. It comes right up. And then you can use one of those little adhesive eraser, the little tacky adhesive eraser things. And you just erase this glue and you can reposition things. I've even taken apart covers on mini books and things like that when I wanted to change something. So when I am putting something in temporarily that I think I'm gonna want to change, I always go for the monomulti. So, you know, if you wanted to have this for a couple, you know, maybe you wanted to, then after Halloween, you wanted this maybe to be fall, and you wanted to do something, you know, fall in here where the little boys are, then maybe instead of just the foam tape, maybe just put a little bit of this on the backing of the foam tape and a little bit on the confections, and then when you're ready to go, you can just pop them up, and you can pop the boys up, and you could even pop the mischief up, and you're good to go with just a pumpkin panel for fall. So that's a way that you could maybe have it for 2 different seasons if you wanted. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Anyway, so that's pretty much it for this pumpkin panel. Thanks for watching the whole thing. I hope that as you watched, even though it was in, most of it was kind of in fast forward, I hope that you were able to see what I was doing with each of the different steps. If anything wasn't clear, as always, please contact me through my blog. There is a contact section in the right hand column of my blog, playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com. I will be more than happy to try and answer your questions or clarify anything that I did on this project. And other than that, my friends, I wish you a very crafty day.